Guys, I've got a whopping video here. We're going to talk about Christine Lagarde and all the connections Ripple has to the European Central Bank. We're also going to look at Europeans' payment systems and those connections to Ripple. We're going to talk about Banque de France. We're going to talk about Germany's bank. We're going to talk about SIA connected to the Euro system through XRP. There's so much in this video, guys. It's going to be a longer one, but buckle in. Let's go into this information. You are going to learn some hard facts right now, and I hope it opens your mind to the possibilities of where Ripple and XRP are heading over the next few years. Let's go ahead and start right here.
Of technology and fintech that you could think would be most disruptive?
I think we are about to see massive disruptions, but clearly the way in which the new technologies are lowering the cost to make financial transactions more accessible, even in very small numbers, for people who do not earn much, who do not deposit much, and who do not borrow much, and how those technologies can actually have a track record of the credit history of somebody in a very short while, and then be able to direct those people towards the best use of their money, I think is already massively disruptive.
All right, she's talking about remittances right there. I'm going to show you some information here in just a little bit. Maybe the next slide here, how big or what technology I think she's talking about there. Okay, just give me 1 second. Let me play this first and then we'll get into that information.
Linkages between payment systems, because at the moment we have too fragmented a payment system around the world, as a result of which, if, for instance, people want to remit money back home, and it is the case for a lot of migrants who are working away from home and want to send their salary back home, it takes forever, it's very expensive, it does funny loop-the-loop circuits around the world for some countries. So interlinking payment systems so that people can actually transact easily and cheaply and transparently, so that remittances can go back to the Philippines or to Thailand or to Mexico in a smooth and cheap way.
Remember those countries that she just mentioned, because that's going to play a vital role in the information I'll show you next. So just really quickly, just if you missed it, some of you might be listening in the car or something like that, but I just want you to get these countries and get them stuck in your head for just a second.
Or to Mexico in a smooth and cheap way. Can go back to the Philippines or to Thailand or to Mexico in a smooth and
Philippines, Thailand, Mexico. Those are the three.
And a cheap way. That is important. And it's the reason why we in Europe, we have a system which is called Target Instant Payment System,
TIPS,
which applies to retail transactions and which within Europe work in that fashion. Fast, cheap, transparent. And yesterday, or a couple of days ago, we announced that we were prepared to link that TIPS, this instant payment system, with other instant payment systems around the world. And they are blossoming.
Okay, she's talking about linking their payment system, instant payment system TIPS, to other payment systems around the world. So I asked Perplexity, what are some of the biggest remittance corridors that Ripple and XRP have? Okay, US to Mexico, what are the biggest, right? 36 billion sent annually. Africa to Australia, Japan to the Philippines, Vietnam and Indonesia, of course, the Philippines, Malaysia, Bangladesh, South Korea, and Thailand, US, Latin America. Was she not explaining what Ripple does to a T? Now, I'm sure there are other blockchain companies that have maybe similar corridors. Maybe XLM does. I don't know specifically what their remittance capabilities are, but she just described to me the XRP ledger and the work that Ripple is doing. And she also, of course, has connections with some of the biggest, swingers is the wrong word. That's like a 80s or 90s word. Big players in the space. So this is Agustin Carlsons. You've seen him on multiple videos that I've done on this channel. He is the head of the BIS. The BIS basically helps other central banks from around the world. They're like the central hub for central banks where they test technology like the XRP ledger and other digital asset, and they help the evolution of technology. And trust me, these two talk about different technologies that they are excited about, that they've been working together on. And then here's Christine Lagarde. This says, even cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple XRP are vying for a spot in the cashless world. Let me play this.
So what role will remain for cash in this digital world? There are already signs in some shop windows. Cash not accepted. And it's not just in Scandinavia, the poster child of a cashless world. In various other countries too, demand for cash is decreasing, as is shown in our IMF work. And in 10, 20, 30 years' time, who will still be exchanging those pieces of paper called checks?
Listen, if you're still using checks today, understand that checks will be phased out, as well as cash will be phased out eventually here, right? They obviously are not going to do this all at once because the uproar, I'd imagine this is going to take 10 or 20 years to really get rid of a lot of this stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised in my lifetime over the next 20, 30 years that cash is in fact in a museum. And we would now joke, right, about using cash, right? Like, who used this paper to transact? It's all going to be digital, right? Moving cash onto blockchain, trillions of dollars globally. That's what we're talking about here.
Bank deposit, too, is feeling the pressure from new forms of money. Think of the new specialized payment providers that offer e-money, from Alipay to WeChat in China, to Paytm in India, to M-Pesa in Kenya. These forms of money are designed with the digital economy in mind. They respond to what people demand and what the economy requires. Even cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple are vying for a spot in the cashless world, constantly reinventing themselves in the hope of offering more stable value and quicker and cheaper settlement.
Now, she could have named any three right there, but she named Bitcoin, Ethereum, and of course, Ripple XRP, right? Do you think Bitcoin will be widely used for remittances or just to send payments back and forth between banks? Personally, I don't think it's possible, right? Banks are at a different level than me and you. Okay, when we are sending money to friends, right? Usually we have to have some type of app where we have to verify our ID, right? Banks have to go through that type of thing, but on a higher level, right? Know your customer, KYC. They also have anti-money laundering, checks. They have, counter-terrorism, OFAC checks. They have all kinds of different checks that they need to do to send money from a bank to a bank, right? Because if a bank sends money to another bank that's on a sanctions list, that could be really, really bad for whoever did that transaction, okay? So what I'm saying here is I don't think Bitcoin, they have the ability to go bank to bank. Now, Ethereum is a different story. Yes, they could be used. Yes, it's a little cheaper nowadays, but it's still not the best choice, right? Yes, Ethereum is going to be used in this new economy, but on what type of scale, right? Is it always going to be number two? I personally think you're going to see XRP number one, Bitcoin number two, and then maybe Ethereum number three. And then if any other newcomers come in, maybe they can have a shot. But also, just the connections. Here's Brad Garlinghouse. Here's Christine Lagarde. It's a great photo, right? Because usually when you have a video of Brad Garlinghouse talking, this is an IMF gathering. And they have some of the biggest players globally in this from central banks all around the world, okay? And I've shown this picture a bunch. Here it is, Director of Monetary Markets at the IMF. You have Chairman of the Saudi Monetary Authority. You have the Chief Hong Kong Monetary Authority. And then you have Brad Garlinghouse, right? Show me another photo like this, where you have a blockchain infrastructure company meeting with the people who decide what happens in your country with the monetary system, right? Maybe you have a few photos, but this is a good photo, man. What I'm trying to show you here is that Brad Garlinghouse has been in the room, right? Here's Jess Chang. Jess Chang, worked at the IMF. She worked at Ripple, right? Good connections here. A lot of other people. If you want to pause the video here and just look through here, here's the DTCC, architect for the DTCC. Somebody from the Bitcoin Foundation, which is really cool. Stephanie Margus, Baker, Mackenzie, Wong, and Low, so higher-end attorneys. Bank of Indonesia, of course, you have Brad Garlinghouse here. Ross Lecko, he was chief legal for the IMF during this time. Chris Church, chief executive, Americas and global head of securities at SWIFT. Interesting photo, right? Interesting photo. And here's Christine Lagarde talking at a different event. The digital euro is on the move. Europe is looking forward to bringing in a digital representation of their currency, which is called the euro. Let me play this.
Is on the move. Digital euro is on the move. Yesterday, the Governing Council of the ECB approved the opening of the preparation phase. It will be a journey, and we will walk the journey together with the legislator. All European institutions will be involved to make sure that Europe is equipped with the currency of the future. Cash is here to stay. You will have all options, cash and digital cash. So what does it mean for you? For consumers, it would be free and easy to use everywhere in the euro area. All of that, of course, is subject to the legislative process. Cash or digital? the choice will be yours. Your euro, your choice.
All right, you get the point, right? Of course, she's not going to come up there and say eventually your cash will be gone. You won't be able to use cash because then you will get a uproar of people saying, I don't want this, right? No matter what, if you tell somebody they can't use something that they've been using their entire life, they're going to say, whatever this new thing is, I don't want it. So you have to ease the population into it, right? Here's a great photo. Former Ripple advisor meets with Christine Lagarde, French president of the European Bank. This is Michael Esbar, the Federal Reserve Vice Chair Supervision in Frankfurt today. A lot of interesting connections around Christine Lagarde and Ripple. I think this is an older clip. She looks a little younger here. Let me play this.
The ECB, it is our duty to ensure that people have access to riskless, low
Does she look older or younger? Maybe she looks older. I apologize.
cost means of payment, as well as state-of-the-art payment services that reflect our changing economy. And we need to ensure that European payments are fit for a global digital economy so that in the face of changing risks, we can preserve the autonomy of European payments. A potential introduction of a digital euro as a complement to cash, not a substitute, could also allow a public source of outside money to remain at the core of European payment systems. But it could also potentially challenge the role of banks in our financial ecosystem and potentially crowd out private payment solutions. So we are carefully exploring the benefits, risks, and operational challenges of introducing a digital currency. But this is high on the agenda.
It's high on the agenda, guys. It is coming, right? And you have Ripple about to tokenize Europe next. The RL Euro, real euro. That sounds pretty cool. Also sounds nice to me. That's a great point out by Crypto Barbie. Says Digital Euro Association partners with Ripple February 11th, 2022. And then you also have on their website here, gold members, you have Auth0, Eurodollar, and you have Ripple. All right. Now listen to this. European Parliament, one of the legislative branches of the European Union, has moved to ban Bitcoin and other proof of work cryptocurrencies. XRP will rule them all. That's what Jack the Rippler just said here. Let me play this.
One of the main topics up there was cryptocurrencies and all sorts of companies now getting into this effort, not least among them Facebook. What kind of threat does this pose to the traditional banking system?
Well, I think you have incumbents, the banks, commercial banks, and you have the disruptors. And clearly the disruptors are having an impact on the incumbents. We just heard a very large systemic bank here saying that they're launching their digital coin, currently piloted in a way within the institutional clients, but to be scaled beyond that. We heard from the European Central Bank that they have launched in November something that is called TIPS, that enables all the banks in the Eurozone to actually transfer instantly at virtually no cost money between them. So I think the role of the disruptors and anything that is using distributed ledger technology, whether you call it crypto assets, currencies or whatever, and it's far from the Bitcoins that we used to talk about a year ago, that is clearly shaking the system.
Clearly shaking the system. Now, the first thing she said there was really interesting to me. I don't know if you caught it, but she said that a big bank is actually working to tokenize, they have launched their own token for high net worth clients and then roll it out to the rest of the bank. What have I been telling you for years on this channel? That every bank is going to have their own type of stablecoin, that they could do internal transactions, right? Bank to bank for very cheap. Now, if you built that on the XRP ledger, well, now you can interconnect all of those banks and they can move money freely, seamlessly, and for what, less than a penny? That is the future of where we're heading with banks and crypto. And then you have Kaboom. Europe TIPS will use XRP end of November 2018. So this goes all the way back to 2018. Worldline successfully launches TIPS gateway service. So Worldline is a Ripple partner and they have a gateway into TIPS. Here is the documentation about that. So it says Swift used to be as the default and then multiple cross-border innovations. And then you have DLT, Disrupted Ledger Alternatives, e.g. Ripple, right? And then you have FinTech services, TransferWise, incremental service renewal, Swift GPI, and then instant payment ACH services. Now, let me ask you this question. She just said in that video that the TIP system will be able to transfer payments extremely cheaply, right? That is not Swift. Swift is still very expensive to use, even if they sped it up, right? And it's not instant. Most of Swift payments can take like 30 minutes, a few hours, a day, but still, it's not instant. So it's it's interesting to start seeing here. Here's another connection inside of Europe, which is SIA. Yes, XRP has connections to the Euro system through SIA. Ripple and XRP connect to the Euro system through SIA chains. SIA's blockchain infrastructure, the Euro system, which includes the European Central Bank (ECB) and the Eurozone central banks, manages monetary policy and financial operations in the region. SIA chain integrates Ripple with key Eurosystem platforms such as Target2, large value payments, T2S, which is Target 2S, S stands for securities, right? Security settlement, stocks, bonds, those types of things, enabling seamless interoperability. Through this partnership, XRP powers faster, more efficient cross-border payments and settlements within the Eurozone's financial network. As institutions adopt XRP for high-value transactions, demand surges, driving the price of XRP even higher, right? When this does start to take off, there are some clear winners already out of the gate, right? If R3 is able to hang on, they will be eventually a winner. R3 has been making some big waves over the last few years in the crypto space, but they've been having some problems with money, okay? Paying customers. Because of the lack of regulation in the United States, they were having a really hard time getting customers. Like Ripple understood the US is going to be off limits for the next few years. We need to go out and make partnerships globally. And that's exactly what they did. And I think that made them stronger for it, made them really strong, right? And now you're coming back to the US too. We've already conquered the world. Now we need to come back to our home country. Now that we have somebody in office that wants to see crypto flourish, boom, right? Ripple. And then you, of course, have IBM there too, right? And then here you go, ECM's Eurosystem Collateral Management System. It's all connected in there, okay? So TIPS is connected, the Eurosystem's connected, and then now you have the Central Bank of France has commended Ripple's technology XRP as a promising option for the European Central Bank digital currency, right? Now you have the Bank of France coming in and saying that they think that Ripple has maybe some of the best technology that we need to be looking at. France's central bank, Bank of France, has openly discussed Ripple XRP as a possible platform for Europe's central bank digital currency. Love it. Now listen, if there was clips of Christine Lagarde mentioning Stellar over and over again or somebody else, I would be like, oh, this could be anybody. But like, she's constantly mentioning Ripple. She's constantly bringing up Ripple's technology without mentioning their name, right? It's clear to me that Ripple is a clear winner here. Maybe there is other technology that they're going to test, but I would be shocked if you didn't see the XRP ledger really coming in to save the day here. So digital euro on the XRP ledger, CPA Australia released a report on CBDCs, which stated that France's central bank, Banque de France, has openly discussed Ripple XRP as a possible platform for the Europe's central bank digital currency. According to the document, Ripple and XRP enjoy the trust of many banks as a model for CBDCs because it's highly centralized and is based on permissionless network where only certain network nodes can validate transactions. So listen, everything is a bit centralized at the end of the day, right? The people that run nodes on the networks are going to be banks, SWIFT, the IRS, right? Some type of government agencies. These are the people that are going to be entrusted to keep the network up and operated, right? University, like people like that, institutions like that will be there. Now, when you take a look at XRP, next to, let's say like Bitcoin, they're so different, right? Bitcoin has its own worries where if one country decided to roll out 51% of all the mining capacity on the Bitcoin network, they could basically block any transaction that they don't want on the Bitcoin network. It's called a 51% attack. So nothing's perfect here, but XRP is the token of choice, and Ripple is the blockchain infrastructure company of choice when it comes to central banks. All right, that is something that needs to really be pointed out there. Bang, the Bundesbank, Central Bank of Germany, has highlighted the usefulness of cross-border payments using Ripple, adding that Bitcoin is only mentioned as a platform but not as a currency. This further confirms XRP status is chosen one for Europe, guys. I mean, here's Ripple, right? Swift, Ethereum, that's still there too. And it says it's coming, a European CBDC, the digital euro, to bring the key features of cash into the digital age. Ripple, as a Digital Euro Association member, was involved from the very beginning. XRP was originally designed as a neutral bridge currency for all global CBDCs. I don't know if I need to play that. There's one more thing here from Christine Lagarde that I wanted to play, and then I want to talk to you about one other thing before I let you go today. It's a packed video. I hope you're learning a lot.
Into new technologies that will actually change the way in which intermediation is conducted, eliminate some of the barriers, including the unconscious biases that exist out there. And I think in the banking system at large, in many, many countries, the difference will not be between those who are disrupted and those who survive, but it will be between those who are cannibalized because they are not seeing it coming and they're not embracing it, and those who self-induce that cannibalization. And I'm using cannibalization on purpose because it's a bit of a striking, horrible word, but it's really what it means. It's you're going to disrupt your business model, you're going to change it, you're going to reduce your cost, you're going to expedite your transactions, and you're going to continue to inspire confidence because you will build that on the basis of an existing backbone, which is your bank and the confidence relationship that you've established with your customers. So that's where I see changes happening now. If you think of Circle and Ripples and all those, that's where they are active and helpful.
That's where they are active and helpful. Okay. Also, I wanted to get some more information on the TIP system, Target Instant Payment System settlement. I've shown you some information linking XRP into that system. Core technology architecture, central bank money settlement. TIPS facilitates transactions in central bank money, ensuring that payments are settled with minimal risk. This is achieved through a direct settlement mechanism where the payment amount is blocked in the sender's account before the transaction is processed, which allows for immediate confirmation and the funds are available. The system is designed to handle a volume of about 500 payments per second to about 2,000, which sounds pretty similar for XRP, in my opinion. And then listen how fast this is. TIPS aims to settle transactions within 10 seconds or less, with actual performance often achieving latency of 5 seconds for 99% of transactions. What does it sound like to you, man? I'm telling you. You can read here some other redundant technical features, cybersecurity and resilience. But what does this sound like to you, ladies and gentlemen? All right, last clip, and then we'll end it here.
A little bit further into this about the stablecoin ban that was lifted, because this was something that started last year, implemented, and then the stablecoin ban got lifted, which means banks now can prepare to start to go into this. This is very interesting because right now we don't have that kind of legislation here in the US, and you already see major G20 countries starting to move into a stablecoin option for this. Sony,
guys, listen, countries all over the world right now are preparing to roll out central bank digital currency. The US is not interested, but the rest of the world is very interested. And I truly believe day after day, hour after hour, all the information that I take in, Ripple and XRP are going to play a key role in the world's financial system. That is why I'm still here. I'm still learning. I'm still growing every day, and I'm still sharpening my skills. I hope you are too. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hit like if you made it to the end. Please let me know. Thank you. Thank you for your support. I'll see you next time.